Hey guys, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the channels, Dueling Guard, Sleeve Chief, and Imperium Duelist. Check them out in the description box down below and use code SAKO for discounts on all of them. Hey guys, Lucas Sako here. Today I have a different type of video. I've been trying out a lot of different types of videos just to see what you guys would really like. I kind of run out of content ideas, and that's the reason that I have dry spells without posting. So I'm trying to find stuff that I like doing in the meantime that I think you guys would also like enjoying. That way I can continue to make content that whole time period until new decks come out, things like that. This is going to be on how to build correctly for your deck. I'm using two decks here for examples. This is going to be a deck from... I cannot say his name. Life Bunning. I am so sorry. I definitely destroyed your name. He played Mitsurugi Ryzeal. He topped the German Nationals event, which was a very big event. Congratulations to him. I'm basically just going to go over some different rules of thumb when deck building and some math behind it if you guys are interested. It's really going to stop you guys from bricking and losing games. Honestly, what's a really common occurrence at my locals, at competitive play, anywhere really in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is people losing, and their first thought isn't, dang, that's my fault for losing. Their first things that come out of their mouth is, dude, I bricked. Like, what was I supposed to do? What did you want me to do? I couldn't play the game. And honestly, if you can't play the game, you can't play the game, right? But maybe there's something we could do before we entered the game that would change that fact, right? It's really about preparation, how you think about things going into it. Instead of just sitting there going, oh, poor me, I bricked. Why not go, oh, maybe I should have deck built better. So let's look at that and how we can do that. If you look at this list here, this is a pretty standard Mitsurugi Ryzeal list for the time. Some things have changed, and some people are starting to play pre-preparation in their main deck as opposed to a 7th Tachyon package, kind of leaning more into the Mitsurugi side of the deck to help you play around Fuwalas a little better. But this is like a more standard approach to the deck. So let's look over this one. This has 16 independent one-card combos. So let's go ahead and count them out here. We've got 3 Habakiris, 2 X, 2 Ice, 2 Swords, Bonfire, 3 Prayers, and 3 7th Tachyons. So that's 16 one-card combos. I'm going to show you guys the math here. I'm going to leave this website and the link down below. This is the math on 16 one-card combos. It's 92.27% consistent. That sounds pretty good. Usually a general rule of thumb for deck building is if you can get anywhere from like that 92 to 95 range for consistency, you are golden. You are super, super happy about that. Honestly, the more consistent you are, the better. But the interesting thing with this math here is this only counts one-card combos. If we go over here to this one, this exactly shows you how you can do the math for a 2-card combo. You need to go ahead and enter in your 1-card combos here, and then change the copies in the deck to leave that as like this normal amount of 1-card starters that we have in the deck. So we have 16 1-card starters. We're going to leave those alone here. But we're going to change the minimum amount in our hand to 0. If we look at the math from this one, it says that we want minimum 1 in our hand and 5 maximum. Because if we have 5 starters in our hand, we're still playing the game, you know? And that's all we're checking for, is the amount of time that we can play the game. This other number down here, by the way, this is an optional thing that you can turn off and on this website, because this website is really goated. You guys should definitely check it out. There's even a support the developer button down here if you guys want to do that. But basically, it just shows you the math for when you're going second as well, so you don't have to change this number from 5 and 6. We used to have to do that on the other website that people used. But for this one, we want to get from anywhere from 92 to 95, and we want to calculate 2-card combos with it. So we're going to change this from 1 to 0 and this to 0, because basically we're calculating the odds that we don't have a 1-card combo because we're not already playable, and then our 2-card combo is in our hand and we're able to play with it. So our 2-card combos for this deck, if we look at it, the only 2-card combo we really have, it's Ritual Spell plus Murakumo. And there's 2 ways to technically get to Murakumo and 2 ways to technically get to Ritual. That's with Saji and Ritual. And then with Aramasa and Murakumo, those are basically the same card. So we can go ahead and put that math in here. We'll go ahead and write out Aramasa just so we have it written down. We're going to change that to 2 copies in our deck. It's going to add 0.84 to our consistency. Technically, Saji and Aramasa is not a combo. It overlaps a little bit, so you could take off like a little bit of consistency, but it's still going to be pretty similar math-wise. So we can go ahead and take this 0.84, and if we pull up a calculator over here on the side, so we're going to go ahead and add that up on a calculator. We got 92.27. We're going to go ahead and add that to our 0.84 that we got from the other consistency. Now we're sitting at 93.11% consistency. That gets us right in the middle of that 92 to 95% consistency that we're running. So this deck has very good consistency there. The other thing to look at when doing math for a deck is the non-engine in it, because non-engine really is what wins games when you're going second. You need to maximize the amount of non-engine you have in your deck, because that gives you a chance when going second. And realistically, if you are doing good at an event, you will be going second about 66% of the time, right? You want one time where you're going first in a match, and the other 2 times you want to be fighting up a hill. That's how you win games. You need to win games going second. That's how you progress in an event, you know? I mean, it's probably going to be closer, about 60% chance, because you're going to win a die roll, but if you're losing die rolls, I mean, it's going to be somewhere from like 60 to 66% of the time you're going second. Let's go ahead and look at, let me see here, the hand traps and the non-engine percentage. Usually for non-engine, in today's current metagame, where we're playing against so many combo decks and so many decks with different extenders, we are really, really wanting 3. We want 3 non-engine. That's really what we're desperately looking for. 2 non-engine sometimes cuts it because it's going to diminish their board down. Usually, if I open a hand of 1 hand trap, I have to make the judgment call of if I want to try to take the risk of ending their turn. Usually do that if I have like a weak engine hand. If I have 2 hand traps, I make the decision if I want to try to weaken their board, or if I want to try to wait and just cut off their board entirely. Like, look for choke points. Those 2 hand traps could work in combination to fully end their turn. I need to make that decision based on the amount of hand traps I have. Here's the deal. If you have 3 hand traps, doesn't really matter what time you use them. You are probably going to fully end their turn or make their board so weak that the hand traps basically take care of the board on its own, and your engine's going to easily push through whatever's left. So we want 3 hand traps ideally, but 2 hand traps it's okay, you know, especially if they're board breakers, not necessarily hand traps. They're non-engine cards in general, things like Imperm or things even like Ash Blossom into Malice. So the math on this one, we are playing 18 hand traps in our 42 card deck. Let's go ahead and count them out here. Make sure I'm not dumb. I can count. We have 7 here on this row. 3 Full Wallace Pearl, 3 Ash Blossoms, 3 Drolls, 3 Nibs takes us to 16, and then dude, I can't count at all. Yeah, 13. Then we get to Imperm, puts us at 16. Cross out and call by. We are now at 18. 18 non-engine. So let's go ahead and look at this math again. We have 2 in our hand out of those 18. We have a 72.52% chance in our opening 5 cards. So if we're going second and we're hand trapping, we have a 72% chance to open 2. That's not bad. It's really not bad. But let's look at 3. There's only a 36% chance. You have to remember, these aren't even all hand traps. This guy's playing cross out. He's playing call by. It's not the best chance when we're going second. But here's something to keep in mind, is if your deck naturally is good at going second. And things like Mitsurugi Ritual and Murakumo do help this deck when going second, especially with something like X Ryzeal in your deck. You have more engine cards that are better into boards. So having like these hand traps to just deteriorate the board is definitely not a bad thing to have. And it's probably something that's helping him weigh out this difference here. I mean, obviously he did good. He topped the event. That's a great success. See, he went to top 16, or top sub 64. Sorry, he lost as soon as he got in top cut. But hey, to be honest, I don't know if you guys have ever been in the top cut of an event, but once you get into top cut, the first 1, maybe 2 rounds are going to be different types of players. There are going to be maybe some people who got their first time breaking into that threshold of it. But most of Top Cut is the same tier of player. Anyone can go from top 64 to first place and be the same caliber of skill level. It's really hard to break into that threshold of Top Cut. So it's still a great accomplishment. It's still worth looking at his deck list. But anyways, this is the math here for hand traps for the Mitsurugi Ryzeal deck. We can see it's a little bit low on non-engine. Even if we're counting our 5th card here, there's only a 50% chance that we draw 2. And for counting our go second in a deck that mostly plays hand traps, it's really not fantastic. But like we said, we have very good math on the consistency, and that's usually like a give and take. Usually if your deck is more consistent, it plays a little bit less non-engine, and that's just the drawbacks you have to make when deck building. Let's go look at a different deck here. This is Administer Malice with, I definitely can't say his name, Benedict Strongneck. We're going with that. Anyways, shout out to him. He did very well at this event. He got top 8 at Germanats as well. We are going to go through his deck here. Looks like he is playing pretty standard Malice build here. Nothing too specific or fancy about his deck. He is playing the 1 MTP, no other trap card, which is great for consistency and hand traps. Really, that additional GWC doesn't add anything to consistency, and it doesn't technically add to your non-engine count, so it's kind of a filler card in the deck, which is not something you usually want. You want to try to narrow those cards down as much as possible. Let's go ahead and look at the math of the deck. Malice is very interesting because it has not very many 1-card combos. It actually only has 8. It's 2 Dormouse, 2 White Rabbits, 2 field spells, Terraforming as the 3rd field spell, and Gold Sark. 8 starters. Konami hit us with a ban list and took away a bunch of our starters with Malice, but the thing is the deck is still consistent because of how people have built this deck. So even with our 8 starters here in our 40-card deck, we are at 69.4% consistent, and going second, we are at 76% consistent. Let's look at our 2-card combos and how those are increasing our consistency. Once again, we're doing that same sort of math here. We're changing the amount of one-card combos in our hand to 0 because we don't want to overlay math. Because if I do this and I say everything can be a 1 of 5, then we have reached over 100% consistency, basically. And that is just not how math works. We're going to go ahead and shut those down because we don't want to overlap, like I said in our math. With our additional card combos, or our 2-card combos, let's look at the math of this and how we're going to calculate it. There is 3 backups and 3 Chessy Cats, right? Those are the cards that contribute to your 2-card combos. It's those cards specifically. Now, the cards that can be with them, it can be another copy of Chessy Cat. It can be March Hare, Wizard, backup itself, any Bestial monster, or MTP. So if we count those out, we're going to get to a little bit of a weird number. One weird thing when you're calculating 2-card combos like this, if the second card of the combo could be itself, or like an overlapping card, you kind of have to minus 1 from the equation, because if you have 1 Chessy Cat, but it combos with the 3 Chessy Cats in your deck, that math doesn't work, right? Because you already have to draw one of the Chessy Cats. So we're going to say there's 2 other Chessy Cats in our deck. Same thing goes for backup. So if we have backup and backup combos with any of the other cards we mentioned, and there's 3 backups that are in our math, we're going to take backup down to 2. So it's going to be the same math for Chessy Cat and backup. So we're going to ignore this first Chessy Cat here. Let me pull up my pencil. We're going to ignore this guy. We're going to go to the next ones. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards that combo with that. So let's go ahead and go back over here. Let me erase all this off the screen so we can see the screen again. And then we are going to go back over here. So we got 13 as our second playable card. And technically, it's a little bit different. MTP doesn't really work with backup, but it works with Chessy. But it's okay because some of this math is a little bit off. Technically, MTP also works as a starter if you have Hare, or Hare works as a starter if you have another Hare, or if you have Wizard and Hare, that is also combo. So we have to give this math a little bit of extra room in this deck because this deck has so many 2-card combos. But the general math we are getting to here is an additional 19.4% consistency. Basically 20% of the time that we are playing the game, it's off of one of these weird 2-card combos rather than our main combos, which is fine. The deck is so powerful when it's 2-card combos anyways that you are going to be getting pretty far. Let's go ahead and do that math here. We have 19.4%, and we are going to add that with our 69.4 that we have here. We are getting to 88.44 consistency. Not great. But the one thing that I did mention is that we have technically a few other 2-card combos here. So let's just go ahead and take a shot in the dark based on the math that we did earlier here with having minimal 2-card combos. We're going to add like another % to our math. Gets us close to 90. And that's a rough number. We don't have to be exact with our math. There's nothing that we can calculate to an exact decimal point. I mean, we really can, but it's not worth doing. You know, we just want to get to like a general point where we are happy. So one thing I was talking about earlier is concessions with deck building. When we built the deck before, we gave up our non-engine count in order to have a little bit more consistency. So let's look at this deck's non-engine, because it looks like we may have done the opposite here. This deck has 20 non-engine. Let's count them out. We got 3 Fuwalos, Ash Blossom. I'm going to pull up my pencil because I can't count apparently. Remember? So we got 7 here. We got another 7 here that puts us at 14. We've got 3 Imperms, 3 Impulses, and a Call by the Grave. Actually, a little bit higher than I thought. On this one, I had us at 20 for the video I made. We're going to go ahead and change this to 21 just because we have Call by there. It's a little bit different. The math, the odds that we open one sort of non-engine or hand trap is 20, or we have 21 in their deck. We have 98.23% to open one of them. That's like almost guaranteed. You know, let's go ahead and check what it's 2. To open 2 of them, it is 85% consistent. That is insane, right? And remember what I was talking about earlier? We want 3 of them. 3 of them basically guarantees that our hand traps are going to be effective, right? Unless they're like duplicates and there's some other things that could collapse on top of each other and make them not work as well. But let's look at that. There's a 55% chance. There is a little bit higher of an edge on you for coin flips of you just opening 3 hand traps and just destroying your opponent. And honestly, going second, if you are hand trapping your opponent that much, let's go back over here to this math. And let's recalculate it if we're going second with this math here. Let me grab our calculator again. If we were going second with the same amount of starters in our deck, we have 76.39 for our go second starters. Let's look at this. For our go second starters here, we have 16.95. 16.9. Ooh, I didn't do that right. 16.95. Add that together. We're at 93.34% if we are going second. So the odds that we activate 3 hand traps on them and then we play the game is super, super high, honestly. And I think that that's really what's driving this Malice deck home right now when it's topping so many of these events, is the fact that it can just play so much non-engine. This is just a general rule of thumb, and there's a lot of other math that you can do post-side. Like post-side, one thing that you really want to keep in mind is that this 55% really needs to be pushing higher to like 75%. We really want to be opening like 3 interactable cards every single time that we are going second. So let's look at the math of what we're doing post-side. We're going to grab this deck list and say, for example, we are playing against, I don't know, Malice, because that's the one where we have the most cards for it. Just to show the math of it, you know, we are probably going to put in these 6 cards here, and honestly, we're probably taking out a good amount of engine cards with these that we're swapping out here. You may take out a Sarner, but let's say that we leave everything except for this one Sarner in our deck. So we're going to take those 21 non-engine we had before. We're going to take out the Sarner, that's going to put us at 20, and add these 6 in. That's going to put us at 26 non-engine. Let's see what that math does for us. With 26, if we were trying to open 3 of them, that gets us to that number that I was talking about. We are at 77.76% consistent to go ahead and open 3 hand traps in our opening hand. Some of our hand traps, like I said, are board breakers in this deck. So let's look at it again. We have Imperms, we have Impulses, we have Bestials, we have Ash. We're going to have, what is that, 6, 7, 13. Basically 13 of those hand traps that I talked about, or I guess it's 12 because we took out the Sarnar, are going to be interactable cards into our opponent's board, which is phenomenal. Which means that this 84% is going to be helping us a lot when it comes to playing the game. That's pretty much it for the math that I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you guys some math that has worked for other people and what usually works for me. But definitely take into account your side deck math when building your deck. Anyways, that's it for this type of video. If you guys liked it, leave a comment down below. I'm probably going to do more of these sort of like coaching or like general deck advice, help advice type things for events. But if you guys liked it, let me know down below. And if you guys wouldn't mind commenting, and subscribing, I would really appreciate it. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. Thanks. Bye-bye.